Starting up. And we're live. Excellent. Alright. So, welcome to the second stream session of Rare Imports, a Blades in the Dark story. We have the amazing Dredge in full costume on camera at the moment.
Not really full, but close.
Close to full costume, with a mask Matt made himself, and it is amazing. So, yeah, it has runes on it. If you can't see those.
Dredge's spirit mask. It
Yes.
helps him attune.
Attune to the ghost realm. Speaking of which, you guys are not here at home. At the planning table. You have ventured out on a score. You are deep under the city. In the sewers or canals that lie in the absolute blackness down below. You're on a small sort of rowboat making your way through the canals. And last time we did the engagement roll, didn't we?
We did, and we got a 5 on it.
Our best one yet.
Someday we'll actually be in a good position starting a score, and it'll be an amazing day when it does.
That will be interesting when it finally happens. So, you've made your way through the canals. You've found the secret passage that leads under the mansion, and you know from speaking to your contacts in the criminal underworld that you know exactly the tunnel down which to travel. When you arrive, as you have gotten a 5, and you're going to start in a risky position, you eventually had to leave your little gondola behind and go the rest of the way on foot through the ankle-deep waters. You're used to navigating without any light, but you still use kind of torches or flashlights powered by electroplasm to make your way more safely through the sewer. And it's with a not entirely welcome sight that you notice a greenish glow coming from an archway up ahead. And there's a sound as well. A sound that comes to your ears as we dive into this score of somebody muttering. Somebody chanting.
Entrance. We're trying to get to the
You
secret
think
entrance.
you think you're right on top of it. You're right
Okay,
underneath
so
it.
this is probably somehow related to the mansion and the cult they're in.
That's right. Just a moment. So this whispering gets louder as you approach. And you're finally able to make out some words.
When one manages to pass through the shadowed realm of Carcosa, they will come to an underwater fortress down in the black places. Within the inky void, the residents are heretics and followers of the Emperor who lie in desecrated tombs, a place of deep secrets and lost mysteries. Some of them are burning eternally with a fire that will not be quenched by the inky sea. Beneath the mire, below the burning surface, lie the Watchers, those who by their nature refuse to fight to reach the surface above.
This goes on as you approach, and these whispers affect you. You feel them entering your minds as you approach this entrance to the hideout of the Cult of the Burned King. Rounding a corner, the whisper's source is revealed to be this man in a black robe, gesticulating and chanting in front of an enormous stone throne just down here in a forgotten corner of the canals. These whispers, anyone who now this is definitely going to include Dredge. Anyone who has a injury, anyone who has any harm upon their person, you are going to be affected in some negative way by these whispers, unless you resist it right now.
Does Dredge get to resist it, or is he just affected?
Dredge gets to resist. I'm just saying that I don't know if Dredge has any harm.
He doesn't anymore.
Okay.
We did a
well,
lot of healing
Dredge,
last time.
Dredge is going to be affected, is what I'm saying, despite
Yeah,
not
I
having
figured.
any harm.
Yep. Ogre managed to heal all of his wounds as well, so he's actually okay.
Okay. Let me check.
And I never take harm from anything.
Suri knows better than to get into a fight.
Somehow Suri evolves getting shot in the face with nails or trampled.
You know, it mostly actually is not opening things that are likely to be full of nails.
Hopefully, you'll be able to join us soon in Roll20. Okay. So, only Dredge needs to decide whether to resist these effects.
Does the effect does it feel similar to what happened to him when he read the passage from that from the story, the Carcosa story? I forget the name of it.
Yes, it
Casilda's
does.
song. He read
Yep,
a
the Psalm
passage.
of the Yellow Side.
It feels similar to Casilda's song.
And that made him, like, he also was mumbling stuff from that for a while, and I
That's
forget
true.
what like, the end result of it, I think it just ticked up a clock, so I don't know. Yeah, let's say he tries to resist it. I'll make a resolve roll.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
An excellent resolve roll.
Yeah, I mean, this happened to him already once recently. He's kind of more prepared for it this time. Or just,
All right.
it has no net effect because he's already still screwed up from last time.
Cool. So, with an effort of will, though it stresses him out slightly to do so, Dredge prevents these whispers from taking hold. You definitely feel strange about the spirit field here at this weird stone throne in the blackness of the canals.
Where is the light coming from?
Let the burned king rise. Let him show the way.
The glow is coming from a. The glow is coming from the sort of the sides of the throne. There's like something that almost looks like it's leaking from underneath the stone throne and sort of pouring down the sides.
When you're doing that voice, are you intentionally cutting out occasionally?
No, that's
Okay,
probably
it was cutting out occasionally.
Okay.
I wasn't sure if that was because we were overhearing it, like, echoing down the chambers or whatever, but
Is it still happening?
no, it's better now.
Yeah, it's probably because I am a little farther away from my mic, so when I'm whispering, it's not picking it up as well. Anyway, I'll keep that in mind in future. What do you guys want to do? His back is turned to you. This is the
Right.
scene right here.
He seems,
I don't know
he
if everybody's
seems
looking
busy.
at it.
Is he, where in that scene, where are we trying to go? Are we trying to go to the left or the right, or?
You know you've come to the secret entrance.
Okay,
Oh,
so this
so we don't know
is
beyond this.
essentially where our information ends.
Got it.
Except for the information about the building above. But you don't know how far above that is.
Right.
Yeah.
My structural plans didn't come down this far.
Oh no.
Well, presumably before we left, we discussed what we were going to plan to do about the cultists when we encountered cultists in this cult headquarters, and whether the plan was to rough them up or what.
Yeah, I mean, our initial plan was inherently based on stealth of using the secret entrance, but Ogre is definitely not opposed to beating up some cultists, if that's what makes the most sense.
I mean, we are at the secret entrance now, so if our plan was to use the secret entrance, I'd say we're in the final stages of that plan.
Fair enough.
How far away is the cultist from?
As the image suggests, you have just rounded a corner, and he's, the distance of a little more than a living room.
Okay.
I don't know if you are looking at the image on Roll20, but
Yeah, I am. I just wanted to make sure that that's what I was seeing. Yes.
a few quick paces will take you right behind him.
At what
Okay.
point do we decide load? Were we supposed to have done that already?
Yes. You decide
Yeah.
load when you do the engagement roll.
Yeah, so I went for a normal load, so I'm not
Yeah.
going to be as useful for a disguise this time around.
Okay.
Yeah, I did normal as well.
So you guys are carrying kind of like knapsacks or something to hold stuff. It doesn't have to be a knapsack, but definitely more bulky
I don't
with
think-
gear.
I don't think the plan was to impersonate cultists, was it? I mean, flashback to what the plan was.
I don't think so.
I mean, I think that we would probably, if we're going to do anything, just do the classic heist move of knocking out cultists and stripping them and taking their clothes.
The classic move of knocking out cultists. Got it.
You know, that
Us-
thing that you do.
Well,
When faced with a cultist, you knock about.
if this is Surrey asking for a uniform, Ogre can oblige.
But like a specific uniform?
How about his?
Yeah, that's
You
the classic
don't-
thing. Is you knock out the first group you see and dress like them.
I mean, yeah. Totes.
Okay. Then, yeah, Ogre is going to basically try to, without making more noise that would echo further beyond this room, he wants to try to get up close to this guy and try to take him out.
Okay.
And I'll go ahead and say that I've got my staff with me. So I've got my fine hand weapon to make this a little easier.
Nice. All right, so that's going to be established. You have your kind of retractable bow staff.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Yeah, so like he's close enough that I don't think I'm really trying to sneak up on him. I'm trying to like just catch him off guard with my speed, but I don't want to be like running in and charging so that everybody in the complex can hear me, if you get what I mean.
Totally. All right, so Ogre, you're going to. Now he is surrounded by like ankle deep water. So
Yeah,
it's going to be difficult not to splash.
If you could like just chuck it like one of these chunks of stone that are in the picture, just pick one up and whip it at him.
Yeah, potentially. I could do that.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that to say that you can't, be on him
Yeah.
before he can react. I'm just telling you, like, it's impossible to be totally silent.
Right. Yeah, totally silent is not my goal. My goal is no extraordinary sound that someone outside of this room is going to need to come check out.
Okay.
At least that's within my control. So I'm kind of okay with making a splash, as long as if I'm confident that I can get to him before he can reasonably react.
All right. So what skill are you using here?
I'm thinking skirmish.
Okay. So rather than focusing on being stealthy about it, you're focusing more on the effectiveness of knocking him out swiftly.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. My ideal circumstance is basically I start running towards him, I make the splash, he turns around and says, "What the?" and then bam. Like before he even really has a chance to scream, kind of thing.
Okay. All right. So it's time for a roll. This will be risky.
Okay.
The man is not wearing any real armor or defenses or any helmet or anything like that. So he will be standard effect.
Okay. Would I get +1 to my effect for the fact that I'm using a fine weapon that boosts me up to a tier 2 weapon?
Does that? When does that? I guess
So,
you're using the weapon,
yeah.
so it applies.
Yeah, I mean that's not an inherent effect of what fine is. It's just that's like normally factored into the equation of whether, or like from what I understand of how you measure the effect. It's typically like you compare the quality of their gear compared to the quality of ours. So like if I've got a tier 0 weapon and I'm trying to hit somebody who's wearing tier 4 armor, then that's 0 effect by default kind of thing, and you need to do other things to get effect.
Right. So I guess you're raising the effect by 1 then.
That's my understanding. So okay.
Mm-hmm.
Just
So
want to
it's
make sure
actually
you
gonna be-
hadn't already taken it into account. So
Right. I'm not supposed to, and I did.
okay. Okay. Either of you guys want to help out? We got a devil's bargain.
I was kind of thinking like maybe Dredge would try to the chanting's affecting his mind, and he doesn't know that it's not affecting you guys. So he might try to attune, like to kind of shield your minds a little bit, if that makes sense.
Interesting. So you're going to make sure that the whispers make it
Yeah.
a little aren't quite so distracting.
Right, which I don't know if that's an attune roll or that's just assisting. I don't know what that should be.
In this case, I'm gonna definitely allow that to be just an assist.
Cool.
You're going to reach into the spirit plane with your mind, using your mask that you wear.
There's no reason for me not to have it this time around, since we're not disguised.
Absolutely. To be someone else. The devil's bargain is you will get +1 die if the presence of the last person to sit upon the throne begins to be attracted to this location.
He said person, so that's good news.
I mean, what's the worst that could happen?
It's certainly better than deity, but
Or demon.
yeah. But it's also probably the person who is in this area that we most want to avoid. So I'm tempted to say no for this one. Stick
Okay.
to my set of dice. But
Alright.
I'm not going to push myself for this either just yet.
You
I
got
mean,
the
I
other
don't
thing,
know
though,
how
right?
to
Yep.
assist on this.
Only one person can assist anyway.
That's
And
true.
Dredge was already doing it. So I did get a 6, so I succeed.
All right. Splish, splash, splish, splash. You rush up to the Whispering Man. I'm going to use this text one more time, if you don't mind, and then as you strike him.
Go for it.
When one manages to pass through and into the shadowed realm of
Got that
Carcosa.
again.
Oh yeah, you're cutting out a lot more this time.
When one manages to pass through and into the shadowed realm of Carcosa, they will come to an underwater fortress down in the black places. Within the inky void, the residents are heretics and followers of the Emperor who lie in desecrated tombs.
Swish, crack! As you run up to him, the whispers being blocked, kind of partially shielding your mind, you feel this very intense resistance in the air as you get super close. But then, perhaps from Dredge's assistance, perhaps from something else, it kind of yields to you, and you click your tier, what is it, tier 2 bow staff?
Yeah.
and it shoots out into this long. You click the little rod, and it shoots out into this long metal whacking stick, and you give him a grand thwack right where Ogre knows the spot at the base of the skull. His head goes knocking forward and into one of the arms of the throne. There's a crack and a wet thud, and then he slumps over and kind of tumbles down the steps that lead up to this weird throne down here under the city, all by itself in the sewers.
All right. I'll look around for a second to check to make sure that nobody else is coming, and then I'll wave for the other two to come in, and I'm going to pull out. I've got something that cost me 0 load. I've got manacles and chain, so I'm going to manacle this guy up after removing his robes, so that if he wakes up, he can't go anywhere.
Interesting. Are you manacling him to something?
If I can, I'll manacle him if there's kind of an out of the way corner of this room, then I'll manacle him in or around there. If there's not anything obvious like that, then I'll probably just manacle him to the throne.
One of the passages out of this room seems to rejoin the canal system. The other appears to go only about 10 paces or so before ending in a blank, blind dead end. You can easily drag him over into that if you wish.
That sounds great.
Dredge and Suri, you see the weird sight of Ogre bending over the conked out, somewhat middle-aged man. Now that you're seeing his face, he doesn't look, as creepy as you expected, Ogre. But Ogre bends over him, drags him off to the side, and in the greenish glow that emanates from behind this throne, stretches manacles around his body, chaining his wrists and ankles together.
Mm-hmm.
Dredge would like to spiritually investigate this throne.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a study. I don't know if that's a tune.
It depends. Are you trying to look at it kind of in the spirit plane?
Yeah, I think
or are you
so.
trying to look at it on this level of reality?
I mean, at a glance, does it look that interesting on this plane?
How interested would you be if you found a gigantic stone throne up some stairs in a sewer beneath a city?
No, I mean, Dredge is super interested in this throne. That's not what I mean. What I mean
Okay.
is there anything that exciting about it physically? Because, like, if it's not covered in glowing runes, like, he's gonna go right to the attune style of investigation.
It looks very old and worn. By the way, guys, Ogre just left.
I'm still here.
Okay.
Oh, his
Yeah,
his
I
wireless
can still
line
hear. I was
appears
just
to
getting
work.
something.
Okay. By the way, welcome Kenny in chat. Kenny has lots of suggestions, including on how to manacle someone properly. So if you want any ideas on doing that, check out the Twitch chat. There really aren't any spoilers in Blades in the Dark.
That's a terrifying set of suggestions, right?
Yeah, so Kenny, how do you know how to properly manacle somebody?
Kenny knows lots of interesting facts. But let's keep going.
Max, what's your Twitch name again?
Twitch.tv/supercommoner. Supercommoner.
Oh, cool. I have to watch an ad first.
Not to be confused with Max's arch nemesis, Ultra Commoner.
You don't have to watch an ad to see the chat, at least.
I fixed it.
Okay. So, now that Ogre has dispatched of the chanting cultist here. Oh yes, I was describing the throne. It's old. And worn somehow. It looks like there are vague impressions in the stone all around it, including its sort of gigantic stone backboard. Hard to make out, not any obvious writing or decoration.
Yeah, he's gonna go right to the spirit plane then.
All right then. This is going to be an action roll. So Matt may have taken his mask off.
Yeah,
but
Dredge has not.
But
It was just
Dredge
getting
lowers
uncomfortable.
it. Dredge lowers it, and it aids in his connection as he divorces himself from his real self and becomes someone else, able to see into the ghost field. Your position here will be risky, and the effect will be standard.
Okay. Devil's Bargain or assists. I don't think you guys can really assist me with this stuff.
They certainly could. There are various methods by which they can help you to focus your mind. A Devil's Bargain.
I just give you like a little back rub to help you relax.
Good job.
The Devil's Bargain is that the last person to sit in the throne, their spirit becomes attracted to the goings-on here.
Wow, where did you come up with that one?
Well, you really, really want us to like meet this person.
I mean, so Dredge is able to compel ghosts now, so I'm really tempted to pull that in, but I don't strictly need it. So, like Corey, you turn this one down. So
Don't let me turning it down stop you from accepting it.
Okay.
This one's a personal decision.
I think that does sound fun. He doesn't say it'll show up right this minute. It might show up in 10 minutes when we need a ghost.
This is true. This is true.
So yeah, I'll take it.
Oh,
Got a 6.
All right. So, Dredge, you're not going to suffer any ill effects.
That's always a good start.
Dredge. You divorce your sense of self from yourself. You link yourself to the ghost plane, the ghost field, and everything else falls away. And on the spirit field, in the spirit field, this is no throne, but a sucking whirlpool of twisting color and wild magic, somehow bounded and circumscribed by this square, solid stone object. it falls away deeper, deeper into the utter unknown. You suffer no ill effects. You are able to... You feel a certain pull, a certain urge to dive in. The same kind of impulse when one stands on the edge of a precipice. The same urge that makes you feel like you want to throw yourself off
the
of
hand
the
and toaster
cliff.
effect.
The hand and toaster effect. You feel that very strongly, but because you are doing so well, you perceive it so clearly. You also see a person traveling through the spirit field, coming to rest where they presumably died, above the throne. Not looking into the spirit field, Ogre and Suri, standing here in your rubber boots in the sewer, you see a strange, ethereal mist begin to form overhead.
So I was wrong about the timeline. Sorry.
Yeah, you know.
A formless presence.
Okay. I would like to go in the room with him now.
Suri, you leave the darkness of the sewer tunnel and approach the throne, setting your booted feet atop the shallow steps that lead up to this mysterious, empty chair.
And I would like to use my new ability, which is called anticlimactically Ghost Voice.
Interesting. And what does that do?
You know the secret method to interact with a ghost or demon as if it were a normal human, regardless of how wild or feral it appears. You gain potency when communicating with the supernatural. I would like to emphasize ghost or demon. I just covering my bases.
So, potency is really a good thing to have. Like right now, you would be able to talk to the ghost. Wow, that's amazing. That's incredible. Potency, wow. I love narrative RPGs where things like that actually mean something. Okay. Dredge. You can see that this person is dressed in a white robe, like the black one the knocked out man was wearing. They sort of sit, or look like they're descending to sit on the throne. Their
Am I seeing them like fully formed as a person, or am I also seeing like a ghostly figure?
Well, Ogre and Suri are just seeing a mist.
Sure. Well, so am I seeing like a ghostly figure, or am I seeing like a person?
You see a partially formed person, somewhere in between.
Okay. Well, the main question is like, can I make out like their facial expression? Like, do they look angry or hostile.
They don't look angry or hostile. They look confused. Their chest has been cut open, and there's a cavity where some of their organs should be. The bloody mess has stained the white robe all around.
So would it be reasonable to surmise that they were like ritually sacrificed in this chair?
I mean, it's up to you to decide how reasonable that is.
I know, but like what you're describing, that's the conclusion I would draw from it as a player. So.
Well, cool. What now?
I mean, they just kind of materialized in front of me, and
they're just staring at you.
And there's this like chasm of infinite crazy energies below them at this point.
Swirling, falling downward. You feel that it might have something to do with the glowing ectoplasmic material that seeps from beneath the throne.
Suri, were you going to try to talk to it?
Yeah, I was. Although I guess I kind of look in your direction to see if you have...
I mean, I'm not really seeing you.
That's
the thing. I'm just kind of like, it's staring at me, I'm staring at it. There's probably a moment of inaction if you want to.
Well, I'm going to walk forward and I'm going to say to the spirit or whatever it is.
The cloud of mist.
Well, yeah. I'm assuming that it's not just a cloud of mist, so that's the basis of this action. And I'm going to look at it and say, we have no wish to disturb this place. We only want to find something that is hidden here. If you will help us, we will leave you and your friends alone.
Interesting. So you want to elicit the spirit's help without compelling it to do so, just by asking nicely.
Yes. And even if it doesn't help us, hopefully at least it'll not bother.
I'm sure nothing bad will happen.
Let's see. This is a desperate action. Talking directly to a spirit that is not bound to a body is extraordinarily dangerous. So it's going to be I think this is sway. Would I be correct in that?
That sounds right to me. Either consort or sway, but sway is probably better.
Consort doesn't really make sense. I don't think. I mean, you could try it, but you're like, hey, consort would be more like, hey, you know, we're all cultists, and we want to be your friend, you know. But this is more like, you know, we would like for you to help us, and trying not to anger it. So I think that's going to be a sway roll. It will be desperate.
Has Suri had time to put on the cultists' robes?
Oh, I don't think so.
She said she just entered the room.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure that would help or hurt us at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, also, Well, I guess I don't know that it was a sacrificial victim, but
Yeah, you
Don't.
don't. Dredge hasn't indicated anything he's seen to you yet.
Right.
I think Dredge is. I'm imagining Dredge just staring open mouthed, but no one can see it because his mouth is behind the spirit mask.
I mean,
right.
yeah.
So he's standing stock still, staring at something, hypnotized by the swirling vortex.
I mean, I've encountered enough ghosts that I think I can probably put 2 and 2 together here and come to a reasonable conclusion.
I mean, you're just seeing mist, so. I don't know.
Yeah, that's not. I had one of these things following me around for a week.
The effect will be limited.
Meh. All right, Devil's Bargain or any type of assistance or anything?
So I am at 5 stress already somehow.
Okay.
Otherwise, I would be assisting, I think. But I'm.
Yeah, unfortunately, Ogre's pretty stressed out as well, too.
If only you guys had Echo.
Yeah.
And I'm at 3 stress, so this is going to be amazing. We're all going to be traumatized by the end of this. All right, Devil's.
The Devil's Bargain. The Devil's Bargain will be. The Devil's Bargain will be that no matter the outcome. The Devil's Bargain will be that the ghost speaks to you directly.
Oh yeah, totally, 100%.
So I think I actually will assist because I just remembered it's a desperate roll and this could go really bad.
Okay, so that's 2 bonus.
Yeah. So I mean, Dredge. I don't know exactly what Dredge does to assist necessarily. Like maybe he just tries to
You give the ghost the thumbs up.
not irritated basically. I was thinking something like the same way I tried to shield these guys from the whispers. Like, could I be trying to sort of separate the ghost from the yawning portal of madness that presumably absorbed some part of it?
You're assisting by doing that?
I don't know exactly how I can be assisting in this scenario, but like I'm not speaking to the ghost, but Dredge is kind of assuming at this point that the ghost was sacrificed in the chair and that some part of it was sucked into this portal thing. And so kind of like lessening whatever effect the portal might be having on the ghost is kind of like, I don't know.
That's
Or just he's
probably an
reassuring
action roll.
Missouri by standing there.
Rather than an assist. That's trying to materially change things.
Well, the other thing was
rather than help
similar.
Suri with what she's doing.
I mean,
Yeah,
you
I was
could
just drawing a parallel
sorry.
to what I did before, where I was trying to shield these guys, and that was an assist before.
Yeah, it might be easier if you phrase it more as, or less as you trying to have a direct and immediate impact on the ghost, and more of just like you trying to calm it down and using your attune or something like that.
It could also be as simple as staring at this sacrificial victim. You put your hand on Suri's shoulder.
Sure.
Seems
You got
reassuring.
this.
All right. I'm gonna roll.
I didn't tell you the Devil's Bargain yet.
Yes,
Oh
you did.
shit.
Did I?
But this, oh boy,
Oh,
yeah,
yes,
the
I
Devil's
did.
Bargain was that it was going to speak to me directly.
Yes.
And I feel like it's not going to say anything very nice.
Okay. Yeah, by the way,
Basically,
while
it
this is happening,
you
Ogre is
while-
looking for the way out of this room that gets us deeper into the complex.
I mean,
It's-
this is like our comfort zone, you guys. We weren't really feeling it last time with all of our rolls going really well and everything being actually kind of smooth.
It's not obvious, Ogre. Suri, you have not done super well. The ghostly visage, the ghost mist turns into a ghostly visage, and it shrieks at you.
The path is open through blood.
As this shriek echoes out through the tunnels, all of you are blasted by it. The ghost seems to have activated its sort of fearful presence. So, all of you are either going, as this echoing noise goes through the tunnels, all of you are going to need to decide whether you want to resist the consequence of either running away or being frozen in fear, even as the spirit field touches reality and the throne slides back to reveal stairs descending deeper.
Well, we found the entrance.
There's a one-to-one correlation with the swirling vortex and this opening.
Yeah, that's great.
So, as the ghost increases in power, who is going to resist and who is going to either run away or be frozen, paralyzed with fear?
Ogre is not going to resist. He's gonna be paralyzed, I think. If we get to choose between whether we're paralyzed or running away.
You can choose what Ogre would do.
Okay, then yeah, he would just be paralyzed in this situation. Like he recognizes this as a threat, and he knows you don't turn your back on a threat. As even if he can't do anything else about it, he's at least gonna stay still.
Ogre freezes in place, holding his useless bow staff. As every hair rises on his body, every muscle tenses, and this icy, cold fear fills his every pore. He is unable to move, blink, even think, as this ghostly visage shrieks out those words. Sorry,
So Max,
Gretch.
you cut out during the fancy words again, so I'm not really sure what it said.
It said,
The path is opened through blood.
did it come through that
Sounds
time?
like the path. Sounds like the path is open through blood to me.
Yeah,
So,
but yeah, you did cut out a little bit again.
That sucks.
I'm trying to decide if I make this roll and possibly get a trauma and be out for the rest of the score right here. It's almost a 50-50 shot.
That doesn't sound great.
No. But being all three of us paralyzed is not great either. What's your plan?
I was gonna try and resist. I only have 3 stress, so I'm not in danger of immediate trauma. I just have to kind of be careful.
Yeah. Okay, I guess Dredge is paralyzed. Dredge was already kind of acting paralyzed anyway, so the idea that there's a physical stairwell into this yawning chasm of mystic energy and the ghost are probably enough to lock him up.
Suri's entire religion is like based on her ability to not be freaked out by ghosts, so she's gonna try and resist. So how do I resist this?
You're going to make an resolve roll.
You just click on resolve on Roll20.
Oof, that's not the music I was going for.
That was real creepy.
Okay.
Hey, that's not that bad.
A 4.
Yeah.
4. Suri grits her teeth as the ghost shrieks directly at her, taking 2 stress, but not being frozen in fear like her compatriots. It seems to be gathering power unto itself from some unseen source, the mist getting thicker and the face getting clearer. It looks pained, confused. You're the only one who can act, Suri.
Okay. Well, in that case, this is really not my wheelhouse. But I'm going to pull on the cultist's robe and start going down the stairs.
Look, we're here for some books, not for whatever this is.
I mean, he said the way was opened by blood, so I figured that was an invitation.
Are you going to just leave Ogre and Dredge behind?
Well, I'm next to Dredge, so I'm gonna kind of like...
Just kick him down the stairs.
Kick him down the stairs.
Yeah, yes. No, she's gonna try and like sort of like tug on their sleeves and kind of like try to pull them along down. She just sort of like she'll go up to Ogre, who's probably like 1.5 feet taller than she is, and just be like, "It's not so scary. It's just a cloud."
It's yelling at us.
Trying to swallow her own fear, Suri dons the cultist robe, which does seem to mollify the spirit a bit, or at least it seems to be slightly less confused. And pulling the other 2 down, I'll allow you guys to follow her if you wish.
Okay.
Down the stairs, and to whatever lies beneath.
Hopefully the spirit's gone by the time we have to come back up here.
I mean, it was fine.
Down below, you find an amazing sight. As the stairs open up into a vast underground chamber. You would never have known it was here.
Okay.
Wow.
Below the surface of the city, this ancient cultist hideout lies. The remnants of a disturbing temple.
This was not in the plans.
No, it was not. Most of the light in here comes from this titanic glass compartment in which a disturbing monster lies. Claws raised above its head. It makes you feel slightly ill to look at it. Like a leviathan's offspring. Without being told, without thinking about it, you know that must be the Burned King.
Not what I was picturing, but
No, definitely not.
Yeah. Let's get these books and get out of here.
This huge chamber, echoey and old, contains few signs of life. There's a burning brazier, or a series of them actually, flickering. There's a single solitary sentinel standing at the other end of a stone bridge that crosses even more abyssal gulfs below. Both the sentinel and the statuary are strangely dressed and armed, looking like something from thousands of years ago. Dredge and Ogre, you swallow with dry mouths as you emerge from the staircase and take all this in. Your paralytic fear has subsided. You blink and find yourselves at Suri's elbow, beholding this sight. Something emanates from the monster in the tank. It's hard to see because it's backlit, and you almost feel like you don't want to make out the details. But it has enormous claws, a disturbingly pointed mouth full of teeth, and the rest of its body trails away with hanging tentacles. It's a creature that doesn't make any sense. It's something out of a nightmare.
Right. So, where do we search first that isn't anywhere near that thing?
So you said there was a sentinel? Like that guy that we're seeing?
Yep, that guy that you're seeing right there.
And then, did you say there was another person? I can't...
There's one who, more distant, who prostrates themselves before the tank.
Oh, okay. And
Right
where
there.
are we in this picture? Where are we
You
coming-
are on the close side of this stone bridge.
Oh, okay. So we're looking out at this. Okay. Cool.
You are. The sentinel faces his god.
All right. How far away from us is he? Like, is it kind of that same few quick steps away, or is he a good bit further?
A good bit further.
Okay.
This bridge crosses the yawning chasm below. You have a sense of fallen pillars and stones going way, way down. Something that
Ogre.
holds up this creature chimeric in nature, a being that should not exist.
Ogre will turn to Surrey and just say, "Pretend that we are prisoners."
Sure. All right. Do you have any more of that manacles?
I think it would be a bit silly if I think it would cost
Yeah.
load if you were to
Yeah,
have
it's
more.
a
manacles.
0 load thing, so I would say probably not. Like Max is saying.
I mean, it's fine if you want more to say that you brought more manacles, but at that point, it's definitely going to cost load. 1 load.
I don't have any more manacles, but I do, but we could just put our hands behind our backs to make it seem as though we're bound that way.
Yes. Okay. Here, Dredge, you give me your mask, and both of you try to look very blank. And I'm going to pull out one of my 0 load items, which is a bottle of trance powder, and I'm going to hold it in my hand.
Okay. Interesting. So we can just have trance powder.
Whenever
Nice.
I want.
I'm still not entirely convinced that that's not just supposed to be drugs, but
I mean, it's on my thing, and it's one of
yeah,
my 0 load items.
I guess that's pretty sweet.
And so, I just don't like to abuse it. I'm not bled.
Indeed. Few are.
Indeed. So, I'm going to carry a bottle of trance powder, and I ask Dredge to give me his spirit mask. I give it back. I just don't think I would let my prisoner wear it.
The other thing that I could say that I have is I could say that I've got some climbing gear, since we get 2 free load for being shadows.
Yeah.
Or with our thief's rigging, we get 2 free loads of tools or gear. So I could have some climbing gear, which would give us some rope.
I mean, we could also just kind of hang down off the side of one of these things, theoretically.
Did somebody ask me a question?
Possible. I have no doubt that Ogre could probably take these people out if we could get him up next to them. I'm just not sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I like us acting like prisoners. The trance powder is a good effect. I think at least just having our hands very lightly bound so that we can easily get out of it if we need to could also be useful with the rope.
Sure.
Okay, so I'll take climbing gear then. That uses both of my free load from the thief's rigging.
Ah, nice. So, using your climbing gear, you wrap some loose strands of rope around your wrists, Ogre and Dredge. And attired in this manner, you cross the ruined bridge. Is that correct?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wearing the cultist's robe.
Your steps echo slightly as you clomp across the stone bridge. It is a few moments before the sentinel starts, stiffens, and spins around, a look of shock upon his savage Akarosi face.
That's a little racist.
Well, Akarosi is actually the native people here. He just looks kind of like he's lived a hard life despite being rather young. He's looking at you in shock. He did not expect you clearly. And he says, "What? Who?"
I have a couple of sacrifice victims here, but first, I wonder if you could help me make use of the big one.
He says, hang on. Who is the true king?
The Burn King, obviously.
He nods slowly. Right. Okay, then. So... what? Who are you? Who are you? And you? He points with his halberd that he carries. Quite inexpertly gripped, you notice, Ogre.
Okay. I'm gonna kind of just keep my head bowed like I'm kind of under either a trance or a spell or something like that.
Okay.
But I've definitely got my retractable staff clenched in one of my fists just in case I need to pull it out quickly.
Okay. So he is just looking so confused right now.
All right, I'm going to attempt to consort with this guy.
Okay.
All right.
This is going to be... by the way, you had a desperate roll earlier. Did you remember to mark the XP for that?
No, I didn't, but thank you for reminding me.
You're welcome. This is going to be a risky situation. The effect of consort... Specifically, you're consorting to, like, act like you're a cultist, right?
Yeah, get this guy to relax by, like,
Okay.
you know.
The effect will be 0.
Position is risky. Effect is 0.
That's correct.
Okay.
So you can trade position for effect, turn it into a desperate roll in order to get limited. You can also push yourself to get +1 to the effect.
Right.
Wait, you can push yourself to get +1 to the effect?
You can. I went back and I looked at the rules, and
yeah.
it's put in a separate location for some dumb reason, but you can.
Yes. See, I knew I had read it somewhere.
Yeah, you were right. You were absolutely right about that.
Okay. It's like in some section about ghosts or something, isn't it?
I don't remember exactly where, but I think it's like on a separate, or it's just on like the next page or 2 pages down or something like that.
Right. So there are ways of getting increased effect even from no effect.
All right. Devil's bargain. I assume nobody's going to assist me because you're all really stressed out, and also you're pretending that I hypnotized you.
I mean, if they were willing to take the stress, they could help you by, as they described themselves, being sort of beaten down prisoners or sacrifices or in a trance. So they could help by kind of doing something to make that more convincing.
Be even trancier.
Falling to their knees or something. But yes, it would cause stress. Devil's bargain. A devil's bargain. The devil's bargain will be that there's a pile of occult texts directly at the feet of their sleeping god.
Oh, God.
I mean, at least we'd know where they are.
Yeah, I'll take it. Sure.
Oh no, these are some other occult texts, not the ones we were looking for.
Your Jedi mind tricks will not work here. All right, yeah, totally. I'll take that devil's bargain.
Okay. So what are you doing are you doing something about the effect?
No, I'm not. As I said, I'm not unstressed myself, so I'm trying to really save it for,
Okay.
when I really need to take stress.
Okay.
So,
but then you're going to have no
means-
effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, if the effect is 0, that literally means that even if you roll a 6, you're still not going to get anything useful out of it. You would need to roll a crit to improve the effect.
Nah.
You
But
can
if I
also
take-
you can make it a desperate roll instead of risky to improve the effect.
All right, you know what? Yes, I will make it a desperate roll. Do I still take stress in order to do that?
You will make it a desperate roll. No, you don't take any stress doing that.
That is acceptable to me.
All right. So it's going to be desperate and limited.
All right.
Hooray.
Oh, thank God.
Alrighty. I'm glad I took that devil's bargain.
And to be clear, when I say thank God, I do not mean the God that's right in front of us.
Please describe how this happens.
Okay. So I just look at him and I say, listen, I bring these 2 people for sacrifices, but it turns out that one of them is very useful. Those Skovlander books that we stole, he knows something about them. Look at his face. He's one of those outsiders. I want to take him and show them to him while I still have him under the effects of trance powder. I don't have that much left.
Oh, he says. Oh, I think I heard something about a new member. That must been you. That must be you.
You underestimate the reaches of our king. He has followers all over the place. Just because you haven't seen me before doesn't mean that I am new here.
Really? Oh. Wow. He's kind of talking like past the nose piece of this large metal helmet with a war crest that doesn't perfectly fit him. He says, Talipide, or Mr. Colburn must have been successful at his new, well, he got you, didn't he? As converting, he was going to go out and proselytize folks. He wouldn't use that word.
Or he
says,
tried to use that word and fail.
Yeah, he's like proselytize some folks. That must be you. You must be one of them.
Yes.
Well, I'll be. Wow, you're bringing prisoners? Where are we gonna put them? I guess we could put them under the mansion or something. Sorry, I'm talking too much. He seems like he's kind of blushing.
It's like his first day. It's fine.
It's not that it's his first day, but he seems...
He's in an underground cult. He worships some kind of weird crab in a jar. He clearly doesn't talk to girls very much.
Exactly. You picked up on that perfectly. You picked up on it, and you know how to use it, Suri.
Yes, I do.
Somehow here, under the city, in this forgotten temple, Suri is at her best.
I'm in my element. Alright. So I just...
he kind of turns like a door with his massive shield and allows you to pass. He's a hefty looking guy, so he actually can carry this heavy armor and weapon, but he just... Ogre, it almost makes you clench your teeth, because you can see he's holding it wrong.
Mental note for if we have to fight our way out of here.
Less like a weapon and more like a log.
Gotcha.
I mean, Dredge is also called clenching his teeth because of how stupid this guy is.
Yeah, he is clearly not very well educated or much of a thinker. Okay. He allows you to pass. The person prostrating themselves up on the higher platform, as you've been having this conversation, they've kind of darted a glance over their shoulder, but not much has been seen. You can see it's it's a man with graying hair and deep circles under his eyes. Even from this distance, you can see them. There are also some other folks in robes over on this side of the room. And the decor over there is much closer to modern. It almost looks like that area heads up toward the mansion. I'm describing all this because you guys are making your way across this platform here.
Okay.
Yes.
The strange partial pillars, the remnants of some series of archways, old beyond the possibility of guessing, loom overhead. There's these kind of glowing, almost burning runes that kind of flow up and down them in a strange inscription.
Oh boy.
Tell me more.
I will. As you get closer, the man on the upper platform bends down again, He's got an open book in front of him. And there's like a pile of them around, of books and papers. As you get closer, you begin to feel a strange resistance pushing against you. The air is thick. It almost feels like you're pushing forward underwater.
Well, that's weird.
Does it seem to be affecting the guard guy?
It doesn't. Can you guys hear anything?
Very
Hear a
faintly.
dull rumbling.
Oh, it just kicked in for me. Oh, it's probably just my computer being slow as I stream, that's all. You sense that hum as you push forward through this resistance.
Is it like complete resistance, or is it like it's just like we're able to push
It's
through
like
it? But
it's like you're moving through water.
okay. So it's not like completely impeding our movement. It just feels weird.
Yeah, you're moving slow. Like you're underwater. The couple of people over here to the side look over at you, cease their quiet conversation. The man on the upper platform continues to prostrate himself. And
He's busy. He's got a lot of prostrating to do.
the sentinel is watching you like as if he's wondering what you're going to do next.
You and me both, buddy. Okay, I'm going to make my way across. I guess I'm making my way across.
What's that?
I say, I guess I'm gonna keep making my way across. I can't really think of anything else to. Okay, no. As we're walking past, I'm gonna turn around and I'm going to address this guy and I'm going to say, "Listen, like you figured out so intelligently, I'm new here. I'm one of the ones that he brought over from a different city. What would be the best place to take these people for me to hold them while I go and get the Skovlander books for them to interpret before I, kill them and put the blood into place?"
Now, you did have limited effect, so he's still suspicious of you.
Okay, well,
And he kind of frowns slightly. The gears seem to be turning in his head a little bit. And he says, "Mr. Colburn didn't tell you?"
well, he told me that I should show my good faith by bringing these people here for the god. So that is what I did. I thought maybe I would get a little bit of extra favor with the god if I helped them with the other activity as well, bringing the Skovlander. But if that wasn't what I was supposed to do, then I apologize.
He says, if you're bringing the sacrifices to the burned king," he points with his halberd up the stairs.
Where we came from?
up the stairs.
Yeah, like to the Burned King.
Oh, up those. We just came down a staircase, so I was wondering if
Toward the thing in the tank.
Cool.
The giant glass tank.
Right.
The giant glass tank that we are totally gonna shatter before we leave.
He's watching you as you guys are kind of moving and speaking as if you're underwater. And his suspicion seems to be growing as he notices your difficulty.
I see.
I'm just gonna try to whisper. Are we far enough away from this guy that he wouldn't reasonably be able to hear a whisper?
Let's say that you are.
Okay. Then yeah, I'm just gonna try to whisper to Suri without lifting my head. Do I take him down?
If you think you can do it without all of these people noticing.
I can't promise that.
If you think you can take down all of these other people too.
You said there was the one guy that was up in front of the tank prostrating.
And then there's some other dudes who are over on the platform to the left. I assume it would take them a little while to get to us. But there's a lot of nooks and crannies around here. There might be more dudes we're not aware.
Right, and they're far enough away that if they decided to go for help instead of going after us, we wouldn't be able to stop them.
Exactly.
Okay. Ogre is probably going to stay his hand for now then. Gritting his teeth and not sure what to do, but yeah.
Now, there is another option. The guy on the platform is watching us, is the problem. Like, I had the trance powder in my hand. I could literally throw it at his face right now, but then he would collapse, and then people would be curious about that, I'm sure.
Indeed.
Oh, but it seems like we're raising a lot of suspicion by not knowing whatever the secret password is to not have a hard time walking around in here.
Matt's first idea involves bombs, of course.
Yeah, the only problem is that we don't have Blend with us.
Yeah, but you could have made them.
I just pull the boat out of my purse and we row our way across this platform. Because if there's two things we have on every single mission, it's a bunch of explosives in a boat.
That's kind of what I was getting at, is like, it's a pretty easy sell that we would have brought this stuff, regardless of what the plan was.
Yeah, we definitely have some explosives. I don't know if we have enough, but we have some.
I think it would come down to Suri selling the we're gonna F up your deity idea.
I can sell that. Totes.
So we could have had a
Especially
little
with
conversation before we started this. Before we switched into the hostage plan, we could have discussed the other plan, and this could be the moment that we switch. Theoretically, it's up to you guys. I don't know. I don't know how else to help in the situation.
I'll use my ability to bring documents with me on any mission to just like set up my flip chart.
Yes, we could have a flashback where you guys gamed all of the possibilities. And
It's like they weren't looking at us when we first entered this chamber, so we could have taken a moment to like say, okay, we're gonna try to make our way to the other end of the room. We're gonna plant charges on the glass dome, and
if that's what you
give
want
us
to
the
do,
books. Give us the books, or we blow up your crap god.
So flashback to a few minutes ago, where just at the bottom of the stairs, you guys had a quick huddle. Dredge suggests planting charges and holding the burned king hostage. The other two of you say this would be a lot easier with Blend here. So you're flashback to a few minutes ago, you're whispering.
Yeah. Ogre will also say, if the two of you need a distraction, I could also just kind of go on a rampage if needed as a last resort. And I'll pull out a vial of red liquid that is rage essence.
Yeah, so while you're doing that, I could plant charges, perhaps.
Yes, I can't promise that I'll be able to act according to any kind of plan while I'm on this, but it could give us the edge we need if it came to a fight, or if the two of you needed to get away from prying eyes.
Oh, BRB. The goblin is stirring.
Oh, well, then I'm gonna run real quick and get my dinner, because my wife just came home.
Okay.
We are taking a 5-minute break, and we'll be back in about 5 minutes. So until then, ta-ta for now. Guess I'll use this opportunity as well. And I am back. Matt, are you back?
Yeah, I'm here.
Cool. All right. I think we're all here. So, bringing us back in, we are currently in a short flashback. Just a few minutes ago, when you guys were huddled at the base of the stairwell across the ruined bridge, making a plan for various contingencies. How is that going?
Extremely well. Is Corey back?
Yep, Corey is here.
Cool. All right. So I guess our current plan is we're standing in the back whispering that we can set up our explosives to detonate around the Burned King and hold him hostage while we make a demand that people turn over the Skavlander attack. Do we think... I mean, obviously the risk of that is that the cultists know something that we don't know about how badly the god can fuck us up.
Sure. If you guys have a better plan, this was just the only thing I could think of.
No, I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to bullshit anybody. I was barely able to bullshit this guy because I'm clearly missing a massive amount of secret knowledge about how to blend into this cult.
The only other option I can see is basically just trying to fight our way room to room, staying on the move, and trying to see if we can find the books, picking off individuals and stuff as we come across them.
So basically what we've come down to is Dredge's plan revolves around explosives, Suri's plan revolves around bullshitting people, and Ogre's plan revolves around punching people. I mean, that sounds about right to me.
Stick with what you know.
Yep.
I mean, Dredge already tried a ghost-based plan, and that didn't go so well, so switching to the other thing.
Right.
Yeah, it is worth noting that we can take demolition tools with our free load from the thieves stuff, which I've already used mine, but if somebody else wants to have demolition tools, they can do that without it affecting their normal load.
I think that would be pretty reasonable, but we could also just use one or two of our load to, be carrying a bomb like we were at the boat at that time.
Mm-hmm. Well, all of the plans have drawbacks, so I'm willing to go with whatever you guys want to do.
I mean, Suri's kind of in charge right now, so she'll give us the signal.
Okay. I think we should keep running with this level of plausible deniability and hope to keep people's guards down. Ogre, you are on high alert that as soon as things start to go south, you are going to commence with the punching. Once we get through enough bullshit to get ourselves close to the burned god, we will see how suspicious people are acting, and at that point we initiate the hostage plan if necessary.
Understood. If you see me drink from this vial, run. Get away from me. I won't be able to tell that we're on the same team.
Right. Well, that's what the trench powder is for. And then, I mean, I think the ideal outcome here is that we bullshit just long enough for somebody to be able to pull a sleight of hand job and grab the books, and we can like make our way out of here some other way. But I feel confident that this is already going so much worse than we thought it was going to when we came in here.
Yeah.
So
Ogre's just gonna say, regardless of which plan we enter with, we're going to end with us fighting. If there's books in front of the god, there's no way someone's going to be able to miss us picking those out. There's too much attention on the god itself.
now I think that that's just wishful thinking on your part.
Sorry, I hope I'm wrong.
Sir, it does not look like she believes you, but okay. All right. So, this whole like walking across the water trap thing is really bothering me because clearly we're raising the suspicion even of the idiot, which means we're definitely raising the suspicion of everybody else in this room. So I'm not really sure what to do about that. I guess Suri is going to stop and try like prostrating herself in front of the burned king and see if maybe paying homage to him is going to somehow break the spell.
Huh.
Would you
Interesting.
maybe force us to do the same, or we just leave us standing there?
I mean, you guys are under a trance.
Yeah.
So, well, I'm gonna try it first, and then if it works, then I will try to force you guys to do the same thing.
Okay.
Wow. So you are essentially trying to pray to the spawn of an old one to release you
Like you
from
do.
this effect. Is that correct?
Yes.
It doesn't sound quite as good when Max says it.
I'm not sure that that's what I was thinking I was
You are
doing,
prostrating
but if it
yourself
turns out-
to the burned king.
To this crab thing.
Yes, to this crab thing. In the tank, somewhere between sleeping and dead, and you are asking it to release you from, or hoping that this act will release you from this watery humidity pressure that you feel. Is that correct?
Yes.
I think that's going to be an attune roll.
Okay.
Now, your position here, amazingly, no, we'll say the position is risky. Many eyes are upon you, and you don't really know what you're doing. The effect will be great.
Okay.
Devil's bargain, the burned king speaks to you.
And there's your devil's bargain.
Cool.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself.
All right, I have to refresh roll 20 real quick. Just to increase the suspense a little bit.
Let's all let the suspense build. Let it build. Let it build. Are you going to take that devil's bargain?
I'm thinking. I mean, okay, so I mean, it's probably going to eat my brain. But on the other hand, how many times in your life do you get to have your brain eaten by an old one?
Now you're talking like Dredge.
Well, I'm just trying to get into the whole we're starting a cult mindset.
Yeah, exactly.
Our decision making matrix, is it crazy? Yes. Is it weird? Yes. Do it. All right. So I've got it reloaded. So my position is risky, but my effect is great.
Yes.
And so I am going to choose this opportunity to push myself and also take a devil's bargain.
Unfortunately, it's one or the other.
Oh, okay. Devil's bargain then.
You can get assistance and have a devil's
That's
bargain.
Does anybody want to help me pray to an old one?
I mean, yes, but I can't really do that while maintaining the trance.
Right. Okay.
Like,
All right. I'm doing this.
You're doing it.
okay.
A 5. The most interesting result in Blades of the Dark.
Well,
5 and 4, so it was doubly so.
Critical
Godspeed,
mech.
Surrey.
thank you. I'm excited to roll a new character.
Okay. Let me describe this first. From the point of view of Dredge and Ogre. First of all, you
That's
hear
not
this.
ominous.
You hear this creaking of metal as Mashod, the Sentinel, immediately relaxes. It's as if she's kneeling. He immediately relaxes.
She did the thing.
You hear a kind of a clank as he sets the butt end of his halberd down on the floor. So too do the robed cultists off to the left-hand side. That's all well and good. But when the enormous tear-shaped maw full of teeth in the tank moves. Silently. It disturbs you to your core. And though no sound that you can hear is emitted, you hear a voice inside your head.
You come to the old place. Sacrifices. Spirits. This will not be enough. Yet, it is well that you have brought them. For my long soldier, I do hunger. Approach.
And as that final word, approach, blasts through your mind, let's see. You all take 1 stress.
Okay.
Not great.
Suri, you feel the heavy weight of being underwater, deep below the sea, the pressure suddenly release. And you can move, and you feel incredibly light, almost like you're floating, although you don't actually float.
Okay.
So it totally worked.
What else? If anything.
Did you hear me when I said you all took a stress?
Yeah. If that's it, then that's great.
That is it. That is it.
Okay. Neato. I totally bluffed an old one.
Or you just actually joined its cult, whatever.
Maybe.
Yeah. I don't think we get to say it was a bluff until you're out of here.
Yeah, okay, cool.
I mean, we're still sacrificial lambs at this point, so...
Yeah, well, But it's the thought that counts, right?
If
Yeah.
only we had 3 ropes.
It also did tell you to approach, so...
That's good, right? So I'm going to, now, are the other guys still, they're still walking like they're underwater, right?
Both Ogre and Dredge, you feel the pressure only increase as with every inch you get closer to this thing in the tank, no longer moving blessedly.
So when Suri explained how we were supposed to act in the trance, like, are we just supposed to just kind of mindlessly walk forward? That's it?
I mean, I think so.
Sure. That's how it works
Yeah,
in our world.
I'm mainly wondering what Suri told Dredge to do.
Yeah, I told you guys to just sort of act like I told you to act like you were kind of hypnotized by me. Or just sort of, blank. But if you I mean, I
No, that's
guess I
fine.
can't really control how you interpret.
Yeah.
So you climb the stairs then.
Yeah, I do. I pull the two guys along with me. And do other people, like, can I look around and see, like, everybody still looks like their suspicion has mostly been lifted and I'm doing the right thing here?
You definitely feel the tension has greatly lessened.
Okay, good.
They're still keeping an eye on you. They're still aware of you. But nobody seems particularly inclined to directly challenge you.
I mean, the god told me to approach, so I don't really know what they have to say about shit. Okay, so I'm going to walk forward. And I'm going to walk up to the guy who was prostrating himself. And
he is now seated on his heels, on his knees, poring over an enormous book in front of him. It appears to be a play.
Ah. Ooh.
He looks up at you. You can all three feel this just awful, intense, spinning kind of dizziness as you now stand directly in front of or below this tank. It's powerful. Dredge and Ogre, you both feel the crushing weight of millions of tons of water pressure just pressing in on every inch of you. Suri, you don't feel that, but your mind is still being affected by being close to this thing, and everything kind of stands out in sharp detail, like a lucid dream.
So Dredge is going to do his best job of pantomime trance falling onto his face without hurting himself. Like, slump to his knees and kind of end up face down on the floor.
Okay. So Dredge kind of collapses as if...
Essentially, yes.
Probably not hard to fake.
Exactly.
Yeah, Ogre will follow suit if he sees Dredge do.
Okay. So there's a kind of a slight clatter as both of you, with your loads, kind of fall to the platform. The older gentleman, who has been prostrating himself, kind of below his, and between, there's like a couple of large stone idols there. And you see those are covered in hieroglyphics. He kind of looks up from the book and kind of up at you, Suri. His eyes are kind of glassy, And these deep, dark rings around them make them look even more so.
Okay. All right. I am going to look him right in the eyes, and I guess this is probably going to be some kind of roll at a certain point. And I'm going to say, "I bring a sacrifice of great potency for the god. But first, I think that he may be of greater use to us alive."
Suri, as you try to form this cogent sentence, the rest of your consequences hit.
Oh, cool.
And as you're in the middle of talking, you almost have this out-of-body experience, like you're looking down at yourself from above. And the voice is kind of speaking along with you. And as you finish your sentence, although you almost forget what you were saying by the end of it, it becomes clearer in your mind.
My battle is not yet won. There is more. We need more. I will take
And with that, you feel something tear at your psyche, as if a giant pair of pincers had grasped your very consciousness.
Oh, good.
And ripped away a piece of them. So go ahead and take a level. Let's see. Go ahead and take a level 2 harm, torn psyche.
Okay.
Yeah. She could theoretically resist that to make it a level 1 harm, right?
She could.
Which I suggest if she does, we call pinched psyche.
I agree with that.
All right. Would that be a resolve check?
It would. So you could take stress. Yeah.
Sounds like there's something else wailing at your psyche right now.
Yes.
Yes, there's the goblin.
All right. That's 4. So that's amazing.
2
So
stress.
You'll take 2 stress, but it'll become pinched psyche and a level 1 harm.
Perfect. All right, I'm going to be moving from one room to the other, and if you could take over my roles, I would appreciate it.
I will. I'll give you a moment to deal with the goblin.
Yeah, I don't know how either one of us can really affect this situation without blowing our ruse. So. I mean, how
Um,
much can I get away with in terms of attuning while pretending to be unconscious on the floor? Like, is it a
Yeah,
active kind
I
of
feel like, yeah. I mean, as long as you guys, if it is giving you a vehicle to assist.
Yeah.
So of course, that costs stress, but it's still giving you a way to do it if you need to.
Mm-hmm.
You can also do things that that are that you can do while keeping your cover.
Right. Well, that's so what I'm getting at. I don't, to put it in D&D terms, I don't know if like attuning has a somatic component or a verbal component. Like I don't know. Do I have to move or articulate in some way in order to attune,
We've
or do my eyes just kind of glaze over?
I think it depends. And we've established in our game previously that Dredge was able to, in a crowded party room, crowded ballroom, was able to attune without anyone really noticing.
They were more distracted, I think, in that setting.
So I think if Dredge is like summoning a demon or doing something that would require chanting and waving of fetishes, then that might be more noticeable.
Yeah.
But if he's just reaching out with his mind or looking into the spirit field, then if he has,
So what I would like to, what Dredge would like to do is essentially to ward himself and Ogre, if possible, from this sort of, water pressure effect. Try to essentially try to block that out. I assume that that's metaphysical in some way. That it's, since we're not literally underwater, that it's an effect of essentially magic that could be resisted.
I would allow Dredge to do that, but you're not going to have to roll to realize that when you're standing right next to this thing, that's really going to be difficult to impossible.
Especially without my mask, because Suri is holding it.
Yeah.
I'm still in the back room.
Okay.
So since this whole scene, we've, like, Dredge and Ogre haven't really been doing anything, and I know we've said in the past that study takes a long time because it's like you're actually like looking. Could I have been like sort of systematically looking over all the different books and things that are piled up to see if any of them,
since you've collapsed,
or just even the whole time that we were just kind of standing around?
You actually can totally do that.
Okay, I'm gonna make a study roll then.
Okay. Now this is going to be risky. Because although you've collapsed to the floor, if someone notices you, like, scanning the books and reading their titles and looking at the papers, etc.
Yeah, and I would essentially be dropping the sort of glazed over blank face, and be looking a little more intently at the books. But I feel like from the floor, it's probably safer than before.
Okay. So while Suri's interacting with this guy, you're going to be doing that. But let's finish with Suri first.
Sure, I was trying to take up time while Kate was away.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, let's give her another minute. So we'll jump over to Dredge. We're gonna cut to Dredge's point of view as he's collapsed on the floor.
Very exciting scene in which he looks at books. What's the effect level?
Okay, the effect will be standard. The position is risky.
Okay, I'm not gonna take any bonus dice or anything. This is just sort of a quick scan over some books. Hopefully hopefully won't blow up in my face. And it did.
Oh no.
Hey, he's not unconscious. The powder's just wearing off. It's not like the whole thing was a lie. They just have to, hit me with a fucking staff or something. This is how Dredge gets turned into a blood sacrifice. It's fine.
You read over the books. Soldier without direction. Bandit of the day. Defenders of the lost ones. Traitors without hate. There's a pile of passports with no picture on them. There's various other customs papers with different colored stamps. But your eye falls upon and the open book that the older gentleman with the circles under his eyes pushes slightly away from himself.
Is this going to be the second time that Dredge accidentally reads from fricking Cecilia's song or whatever it was called?
Casilda's song,
There we go.
also known as the Psalm of the Yellow Sign.
Yeah.
Soul of my soul, my voice is dead. Die now, unsung as tears, unshed, shall lie and die in lost Carcosa. You, sir, should unmask.
Ogre, you, having fallen upon the floor, also see more piles of books. False Monarchy of Demons, Sway the Head and Shake the Tail, Manual of Demonic Might, Sapiential Work, The War Scroll, The Exiled Lord of Murdan, A Coffin of 9 Nails, Parade of 101 Night Demons. But your eye is not drawn to these phrases as Dredge's is, and you do not hear them spoken aloud in your mind. So Dredge, you too feel something taken, as if pincers had grabbed hold of your very mind and pulled at it. You are going to take a level 2 harm. Torn Psyche. And that, my friend, is definitely going to be affecting your attune rolls.
Yeah, and I can't afford to try to resist that.
Okay.
I have room for 2 stress.
That's not good.
All right, the goblin has been tamed.
Nice. So Dredge looks over a book and then happens upon the Song of the Yellow Sign, which this guy was
Again.
reading. And his mind has just been torn apart. So, Suri, we're cutting back to you. You finished your sentence. You're not quite sure what was said. The older gentleman is looking up at you with this glassy expression. And he pushes the tome, the giant play he was reading away from him. And just kind of stares blankly at you. As if he doesn't, as if his mind is in another world. And he says, "The burned king fights his battle still, though he sleeps in death in our world. There, he battles as he was sacrificed to the older god." He keeps talking, but it's more of this weird kind of nonsense. And part of your mind is like, you know that this doesn't really make any sense. But a lot of you is feeling like you're ready to believe it.
This
Even
guy's
though it
making some
doesn't
good
make
points.
sense. Yeah.
Yes. Where... These books that are on the altar, or on the whatever it is, do they look like the books that we've been looking for?
Well, there are passports with their pictures removed. There are intake and papers with various colored stamps, and there's also many books whose titles I have been mentioning.
Yes.
Some written in the Skovlander native tongue.
Right. Okay. So those seem more like the ones that I'm looking at. I mean, the passports and the papers, are they Duskvolian passports and papers mostly, or like a blend of all of them? Because I mean, I'm assuming that part of it is just like
It's really
typical
scattered.
creepy. All right.
I mean, it's basically like a whole bunch of different stuff has been like piled up. Almost haphazardly. Almost like an offering. But yeah, I mean, there's all different sizes and shapes of books. Although you've definitely noticed that Dredge has now focused in on the Song of the Yellow Sign.
Which is the book that this guy is holding.
This guy has just pushed it away from him. After you spoke, he pushed it away from himself all across the stone floor.
To me.
So,
Just away from himself, kind of toward the god, toward the burned king, and is just staring at you with the glassy eyed and spouting this kind of belief that doesn't really make complete sense.
Okay. Did you want to do something, Corey, or should I continue?
Well, I was just gonna check to see. Like, I know I've been seeing some of the books that are in front of me, and I'm assuming that when we initially talked to the Scovlanders about this score, they probably would have given us some indication of how many documents we were looking for. Like, does this seem like it's within the range of what they were hoping to get, or does it seem significantly smaller than that?
Yeah, I mean, this is you heard the rumor was that there was a large kind of cache, and you know that there's a possibility that some of it was confiscated by the authorities.
Right.
But this would seem likely to be the remainder.
Okay.
If there are more hidden libraries around here, they are not obvious.
Okay. Then I don't know if this makes sense as a flashback or something, but Ogre would probably want to give Suri the sign that, like, this is everything we need right here. Without talking, or without obviously saying it, since I'm pretending to be in a trance right now. But if I could, like, tap her leg or something like that as an indicator.
Suri's pretty focused on other things, but...
Yeah, she's got her new cult buddies now. She doesn't care about us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Ogre will let this play out a little bit further, but if he sees anything dangerous that's about to happen, he's gonna get up and he's gonna hit somebody.
A lot of the things that have been dangerous have been happening inside people's minds.
Right, and that's why Ogre's willing to let this play out. He's not been seeing the fact
As
that
far as Ogre
both
goes,
of
this
these
is going
other
great.
people, yeah, both of the people next to me have been talked to by a deity, and Ogre has no
Ogre's
idea
just
that
like,
that's happened.
this is perfect.
So-
They don't suspect me at all.
Yeah. So that's why he's willing to let this play out a little bit further. But
Dredge's face is facing the other way from you, so you can't tell he's like bitten his own
Yeah.
tongue and
He's-
bleeding from the eyes.
Ogre's basically expecting that Suri is working towards the end game of we're grabbing the stuff right in front of us and getting out of here. And if that doesn't happen in the next couple minutes, then
Do you
He may
want
have to-
Ogre to start gathering these things in his arms?
probably not, because Ogre is terrible at doing that in any kind of inconspicuous way. So he's gonna
Well, yeah,
rely
there's really
on
no way to be inconspicuous about it.
So Ogre is going to try to more likely rely on speed rather than stealth. So once things get going, he'll try to pick them up very quickly, as opposed to trying to sneakily get stuff right now.
Okay. So, so we know what each of you is doing right now. What do you want to do next?
Okay. So, I would like to. How close am I to this guy who's in a trance?
You're right next to him.
All right. I'd like to reach out and kind of put. You know what?
When you reach
I'm
out...
gonna throw.
Yeah, go
Uh-huh.
ahead. What are you doing?
I'm gonna try and throw some trance powder in his face.
Okay, when you say throw it in his face, could you describe that in a little more detail?
Yes. I kind of like using my big bulky robe to not completely hide what I'm doing, but I keep my hands low, and I take a handful of trance powder, 1 dose of trance powder out of my bottle. And when he finished, as he's rambling on, I'm just going to kind of bring my hand up
Uh-huh.
and blow it into his face.
As you bring your hand up, with the powder upon your palm, ready to blow into this cultist's face. He reaches out with a small knife, handle toward your hand, and indicates your prisoners, as well as the two idols to either side that have receptacles atop them. But then you blow the powder in his face. So mark that in your possessions. And he kind of involuntarily inhales as the powder spatters across him. And does it put him to sleep, or does it put him in a trance? Do you know what page this is on?
I don't have the searchable one open. Would somebody search that for me?
It's trance powder, and it's a slide special item.
Yeah.
It's page 79. A dose of the popular drug which induces an altered mental state. The victim of this drug is not fully unconscious, but rather retreats into a calm, suggestible mind state, similar to hypnotism.
Okay. So, will that do what you want?
Yeah.
Okay. So he seems very ready to go into a trance already. The powder gets into his eyes, and he doesn't. He weeps tears of blood, but does little else as he just his breath coming more quickly. But he doesn't rise. He simply stays on his knees, looking up at you, and then up at the burned king looming above. Hyperventilating.
All right. I'm going to take the knife from him, but then I am going to turn to him, and I guess this is going to be a command roll, and I wonder if I could get some bonuses on it because of his trance powder putting him in a suggestible state.
Probably.
And I'm going to say, it is time for you to rest. It is best that you save some of your mind for a king to devour at a later time.
So you're commanding him to fall asleep?
Yes.
All right. Interesting. Yeah, kind of like hypnosis.
Yep.
Interesting. That is a very interesting thing to do. I'm going to say that your effect is raised to great by the trance powder.
Okay.
So it would be standard effect. I'm going to say it's great because he's more suggestible. Now for the position. I think the position is risky.
Have we made a single controlled roll on this entire heist?
See, we lulled ourselves into a false sense of security because we actually did decently on the engagement roll.
Right.
There was a controlled roll when you guys were at the throne. I think. I'd have to go back and look.
I don't think we've made one tonight, but
Maybe not.
Yeah, I don't think so. All right, devil's. I hate to ask, devil's bargain.
The Devil's Bargain. The Devil's Bargain. Interesting. There's a lot of ways this could go. The Devil's Bargain here would be that, and I'm having trouble like coming up with something that's not catastrophic that might actually tempt you. For +1 dice, as you command him to sleep. I'm so tempted to say it works on one of your friends as well, but you wouldn't go for that.
I mean, which one?
The Devil's Bargain is that the demon offers up some new information.
You mean the Burnt King?
The Burned King.
Ooh. Does anybody have a reason why I don't want that information?
Dredge, if you were just trying to talk, we couldn't hear you.
Yeah, we can't hear you,
Yeah,
Dredge.
still
We can't
not
hear
hearing you at all.
Now?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, the
Gotcha.
mute button had gotten pressed somehow. Oh, so I was gonna say I had a Devil's Bargain as well, if you wanted to hear it, but I've said it twice now to myself.
Spit it out.
So you just blew a bunch of trance powder out. Dredge could inhale a bunch of it and become highly suggestible.
I don't really love the whole like screwing your friends over with a Devil's Bargain thing. It should be something good and something bad for you. The man with no screen name in chat is asking a very pertinent question. Is it too much information? With that Devil's Bargain.
Any information from a deity is too much information.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a given. Oh, man. See, this is specifically a problem, I think, for Sori because of her religion. Like, her whole religion is talking to creepy things that she shouldn't talk to and trying to get hidden knowledge from them.
Ah, so this is her vice. This is playing upon Suri's proclivities, her weakness.
I mean, not directly, but certainly not dissimilar to it.
Right. Well, remember that the Devil's Bargain is more of a mechanic for Kate. Suri, is just experiencing the reality that we're creating. She doesn't know that there's a choice.
Yeah, that's true.
I have another one.
I think. Okay, hit me.
The guard guy is really impressed by Suri and starts following her around.
Again.
Again.
I feel like
we've been down that road before.
Yeah, we certainly have. Yeah, sure. I guess that's an option too. A funny option.
Okay. You know what? Yes, I will take this too much information.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Great effect, though. Look at that.
Look at that there, hun. I got you a 5.
A 5.
Happy birthday.
All right. Okay. So here's what happens. Almost as if in a dream, everything is happening in slight slow motion. Suri blows the trance powder into the man's face. She says what she said, you should rest. He nods. And slumps over suddenly. Like a light. He's out like a light. His collapse attracts the attention of the other cultists in the room. Black-robed figures over to the left. Over here. They look up, alarmed. A pair of them start hurrying up the stairs. You can see they're heading around the back and intend to come around behind the tank and confront you. However, now the three of you are alone on top of the platform. Alone with the burned king's dead, dreaming body.
Where did the guard guy go?
What?
I'm assuming he's still at his post.
He looks
the guy,
up.
the sentry that we interacted with.
He looks up as well. And he starts walking slowly closer, like wondering what's going on.
Okay. Ogre is going to look to Dredge, and he's just going to say, "Start packing." And Ogre is going to grab the book that was up on the pedestal that the cultist was reading, and he's going to put it into his bag.
Okay, so you just start taking this book. You close it without really reading it. You gather some other things.
Not reading it.
You start putting them in your bag. Boy, oh boy, the goblin is very wakeful tonight. The Burned King says,
One of you. Comes from an old man. Your ancestors wrote words. You I will take from you. Your ancestors would be proud of the things you have stolen. Your artifacts of power. You shall use them to reach for my brethren of mine. Yes. Takes good.
Sorry, I couldn't quite hear that last part. He said, or else my brethren will find you, and...
he said, yes, it tastes good.
Okay.
And Ogre, as you are the first one to kind of begin shoveling occult writings, papers, and various strangely marked things into your bag, now you feel the pincers grabbing at you. Something tugs at your consciousness. You can resist it, of course, but you are going to take a level 2 harm, torn psyche.
Oh, jeez. Just for touching the books?
You are the first to start shoveling them
Yep.
into a bag.
Alright, I can't afford to resist it, so I'm just gonna take it.
All right. So you got some information. At what cost? That's for you to decide. And whether you trust it, that is also for you to decide.
So while he's shoveling books, Dredge would like to set those bombs. Because fuck this thing.
So Dredge kind of struggles to his feet, moves forward through the thick atmosphere, the humidity pressing against him, and and with a great physical act of strain, starts placing these charges against the tank. Do you have these bombs as a feature?
I mean, I don't. So I don't know how much load they took up, but I haven't used much of my load.
So you want
we can
to
flash back
kind
to
of
acquiring
flash
them.
back to acquiring them.
Yeah,
it's
I mean, we
considered
implied
demolition tools, if it's considered demolition
I
tools,
don't
that would
think
be
it
2
was.
then. Okay.
I think
I haven't
demolition
looked up
tools
what the demolition tools are
has a
specifically.
specific list under it.
Okay.
I closed my character sheet at some point by mistake. Hang on.
Okay.
So demolition tools specifically just says a sledgehammer and iron spikes, heavy drill, crowbar.
A sledgehammer, iron spikes. Yeah, okay, so basically things for setting up an explosive. But not the explosive itself.
The other option is I just use a sledgehammer to try to freaking break the glass. I don't picture Dredge as a particularly strong guy, but a sledgehammer is a thing that.
So Dredge, how do you go about getting? Our camera jumps from this moment to a few days ago. Dredge trying to acquire a set of explosives.
So
to
last time we needed them, I
possibly
think we got them from
deal with an eldritch being, I guess.
we got them from a contact of Blend's last time, as I recall.
Stasia.
It was like this crystalline heart thing, and that worked really well. So I imagine. So we get a. Did we use our one downtime action that we get for free?
Yes.
We did to get the boat.
Oh right.
So if you want to do this, it'll cost stress.
Well, we already implied we had the bombs because we had this plan, right?
Well, that was me thinking that demolition tools would count.
Oh. So we just brought the demolition tools, and that was our plan, was to.
It would cost. Yeah, you can have the demolition tools. That would make perfect sense. Unfortunately, you didn't count on this giant tank that would take a lot more than a sledgehammer.
I meant more like the flashback we already had when we were discussing the hostage-taking plan. Like, in character, like we had some vague idea of how we were going to take out the tank when we made that plan.
Well, okay, so now standing looking up at this, it would take quite a lot of explosives and possibly expertise to actually break this thing apart.
Mm-hmm. What about all the ruined structures around us?
What about them?
Could I maybe bring down like this ring of there's this ring of columns around us right now, right?
Yeah.
Could I maybe bring one of those down onto the bridge and block off the people that are running to us? Maybe that would be useful. I could also just pick up a bunch of books. I don't know. This whole plan seems kind of.
You can do all kinds of things.
I like the idea of blowing up this thing, but if we don't have a bomb, then
you can acquire a bomb. Flashbacks to acquire stuff like that cost stress.
Yeah, well, I can't afford stress right now, so screw it. I'll just pick up some books. Oh well, anticlimactic.
I mean, you could flash back to something that would be easy, like a no-cost flashback.
Well, I was thinking that like acquiring a bomb was relatively common for rare imports at this point.
Not unless you have Blend around, maybe. Could make
where is
one,
Blend when we need him?
Even then, I would probably be at least one stress for Blend.
I don't even have a lot of coin to spend at this point, so.
Right. Alright, so
Dredge
look
thinks about it. He
Yeah.
really, really wants to screw this thing up somehow, but he can't come up with a way, and so he dejectedly just gathers up books.
There's absolutely nothing preventing you guys from having another score where you come back.
Yeah, you're cutting out again, by the way, but I think I heard what you said.
There's nothing preventing you guys from having another score where you come back.
Yeah.
That's true. That would be a hell of a sabotage mission.
Go kill this god.
It would indeed. Okay, so you gather up these books and papers. As you're doing that, the sentinel is going to run up to you. He will reach you right about the same time as you guys are finishing up.
Okay. Yeah, so Ogre...
He's like,
Well-
clank,
Yeah.
clank, clank in his armor and shield.
Yeah, so when Ogre sees that Dredge is starting to pick up books as well, he's going to essentially stop. He's got the main book that he really came here for at this point, and so he's kind of trying to be ready for this guy, so that as soon as he comes up, again, just kind of clocking him along or on the side of the head with my bow staff.
Okay. So you're again trying to knock someone out?
Yes.
Alright, so you're gonna leave the rest of it for Dredge to clean up.
Yep.
And then whirl, and then your bow staff shoots out from the rod that you carry. And you thwack him a solid one on the side of the head.
Yes.
Alright. Clearly this is skirmish, yes?
Yeah.
So you're gonna skirmish with him. The position here is risky.
Okay.
The effect on his helmeted head will be limited.
And then boosted to standard because it's a fine weapon?
Alright then.
Okay. Devil's Bargain?
Certainly. I guess your torn psyche isn't coming into play here, so you're not going to take a -1 die from that.
I mean, this is basically muscle memory.
Yeah. Is anyone assisting him while I think of a devil's bargain?
It's fine if you guys don't want to. I know I haven't been able to assist anybody yet, so...
I can't afford to.
Yep, don't worry about it.
The devil's bargain. Man, I'm having trouble coming up with a good one for this. Oh! Before I forget. Right. I forgot something. I know I said it was risky and limited, but I forgot you, as you swing your bow staff, are still affected by the intense pressure of being underwater.
Oh, yeah.
As if you were underwater. So that actually would have been no effect. So you would be at limited with your
Okay.
upper tier weapon. The devil's bargain is that the devil's bargain is that if you wish it, anyone who falls unconscious here will slip into the dreaming realm where the burned king resides and fall into a nightmare from which they cannot wake.
No, I don't want that. I do not want that. So, alright, I'll leave that where it is then.
All right then.
And I am still not pushing myself because I need to save that for we get into the situation where I need not to be trifled with. So here we go, 2 dice. I got a 5.
Impressive. A 5, the best possible result for story reasons. From a story perspective. Okay. Mashod's helmet rings like a bell. I mentioned earlier that it doesn't fit him quite right. And the force of the blow actually turns the helmet on his head. Because it's too large. And he's like, "Urgh," and can't see. And actually, the force of the blow knocks him to the ground. As Ogre is quite strong. However, I said the effect was limited.
Yep.
So he's not unconscious. You did knock him to the ground, and his helmet is on backward. And because you're not used, because you're feeling this pressure, this intense underwater pressure, you didn't quite move out of the way of his wildly flailing, and it's not slowed, halberd.
Right.
So inexpertly wielded, it only slashes you across the shin as he falls. So take a level 1 harm, slashed shin.
Well, it's a really good thing that this whole time I've been wearing a cloak, and underneath it I've been wearing some nice leather armor.
Aha!
And so I am spending that armor in order to not take this injury.
Awesome. The first use of armor on a player in our game.
No, Dredge used it to avoid the nails to his face.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was pretty cool.
Yes. Yes, it was.
As is this, as the halberd just kind of cuts across the hard leather, damaging it, probably ruining it, but not cutting through to your actual shin. He clatters to the ground with a loud crash. The sound almost ripples through the air. It's become so thick, the pressure so intense. The other Black Road cultists have run around the back of the tank now, and they are coming toward you around it. Dredge, you've stuffed the last papers and books. You've gathered everything that isn't out of reach, save for a few things stacked up by the idols. Suri, what about you?
Well, I mean, now that I've got this guy unconscious, I guess I am going to continue to, and everything's gathered up?
Everything's being gathered up. Ogre has just spun almost in slow motion through water, but knocked over the sentinel who wasn't used to talking to women.
Right.
He's fallen down to the ground in a great crash. Chaotic combat is being joined. Black-robed cultists are rushing from the rear of the room, and unfortunately, a good handful of them. You see them drawing blades and guns from within their robes.
All right, I'm going to start making a break for the exit, I think. Going back the way we came.
Okay. Suri, you run for the exit. Ahead of everyone else. Is everybody else doing the same thing?
I think that Ogre is going to instead of just making a break for it, he's going to be trying to do a fighting retreat to try to buy time for the other two, and then once he finds an opportunity, then he'll make a break for it after that. Like he wants to try to move back to try to get a little bit further out of the influence of the Burned King, since it seemed like the watery effect was stronger as I was closer to him.
It was.
So I'm trying to fight my way essentially back down this stairway so that effect gets lessened. And once I'm there, I'll probably try to make a stand for a few minutes to give them some time.
You might even cross the bridge so that
they're
coming at you more single file.
Yeah. My goal is to try to put myself in a position where I can fight them without the guys with guns having a clean shot.
Come back! Come back! How dare you!
As you guys flee, Ogre takes up a rear position, bow staff whirling. Dredge, you're running with armfuls of books and papers.
Yep.
Suri doing something similar. Trying to slip out the way you've come, back into the sewers through the secret entrance to the cultist hideout. In order to buy all of you time, Ogre is going to have to take on a skirmish. Now this is... I know you have your special thing that will let you take on a larger group. There are 5 people attacking you. So you are going to need that, and it is barely going to cover that.
So I'm going to be doing 2 other things to help with this.
Okay.
And one of them may very well cause more trouble than it gets me out of, but I'm doing it anyway. The first one is that I am pulling out my own fine heavy weapon. So instead of just using the simple bow staff, I'm pulling out a much, much larger weapon.
Of course you had that the whole time. What is it? Is it also like a melee weapon? What is it?
Yes, it's also a melee weapon. I'm thinking that it's basically just more or less a sledgehammer with a similar retracting handle, so that I can put it into my bag and it's basically just like a giant brick in the bag, but I can use it as a weapon when I need to. Because it is similarly a tier 2 weapon.
Wait, could you describe it again? It's a what?
Yeah, basically think of it like a sledgehammer, but it's also got that telescoping handle. So
it's like it has a brick at the end of it?
Well, no, I'm just saying if it's like a big heavy sledgehammer, I can retract the handle a little bit so that it fits in the bag, so it makes sense that I've had it the whole time.
What?
I'm not saying it retracts all the way. I'm just saying,
Oh my god! So it's like Thor's hammer from Neil Gaiman's stories. It's the Sandman, where it's like a normal small hammer, but you shake it and it becomes this huge hammer.
Sure, we'll go with that description.
Oh my god.
This is obviously not small enough that like it could fit in my palm the way that the retractable bow staff can, but it fits in a bag is all I'm trying to go for.
So you have this heavy short-handled hammer, and then you like pull it out and it's like, now I have a motherfucking hammer. That is a really hilarious image. So well done.
Okay. And then the second thing that I'm doing to help out is that I am drinking my Rage Essence vial.
Okay. Right,
So
you posted the text of that earlier.
Yeah, I linked it earlier, but I'll read it again. A single dose which greatly enhances the strength, resistance to pain, and irrational aggression for the span of several minutes. The GM will modify your position and effect accordingly when you fight on Rage Essence. Also, you suffer 2 consequences. Can't tell friend from foe, and can't stop until they're all broken. You may resist these as usual.
Can't stop until they're all broken. So not so much a fighting retreat anymore.
Yeah, you're probably right. It's not really a fighting retreat anymore. It's once I get into a favorable position, then I go on an all-out offensive.
What did you say you're going to do about their guns?
My goal was to try to start the fight in a position where they couldn't get a clean shot, like there were just too many guys in front of me, of their own guys. Obviously, if they're willing to shoot through their own men, then it doesn't matter, but that's about the best that I could hope for in this situation, I think.
I mean, it's 5 people kind of rushing from either side running around the tank. Cloaks streaking behind them. Some of them have kind of curved blades, and others have pulled out like pistols. Wow, this is intense.
Yeah.
All right. Irrational aggression. Can't tell friend from foe and can't stop until they're all broken. So you basically you drink this down. Or maybe shoot it up. And as the 2 of them run away, Ogre's like backing away across the bridge, shoots this up, and then stops and runs forward.
Pretty much.
To bring the battle to them. All right.
Pretty much.
So this, because of the rules of scale and magnitude, you fighting off a much larger force. This was going to be desperate, no effect.
Okay. I am pushing myself with not to be trifled. So
Right.
I will be able to engage a small gang on in close combat.
Engage a small gang, which this is, on equal footing in close combat. So equal footing means that you are instead engaging the Cult of the Burned Kings members that are present. An equal footing, so that's risky instead of desperate. Although
Okay.
I feel like this should still be desperate.
I'm kind of okay with it being desperate.
I think it has to be desperate. All right, so that we'll say that raises the effect level to limited. And then you take this vial, which raises the effect level again. To standard.
Mm-hmm.
So we're now at desperate and standard.
Yeah. So the other thing that the fine heavy weapon says is this might give you potency when the power or reach of the weapon is a factor.
It's really not. That came into play with the armored guy. But he is going to turn his helmet around and get up and fight. but now he's really just joining the general melee.
Okay.
And against most of them, the reach of the weapon or its power isn't going to matter when they have pistols. So I don't think that is, well.
Yeah, I mean, to me, when you're dealing with a pistol at close range, every foot matters.
Yeah, I mean, your rage vial, man, there's a lot of things going on here. So your rage vial will allow you to ignore the pain of getting shot and actually come to grips with them. In which case, the reach of your weapon will matter, because they have these sort of short curved sickles. And the power of the weapon will matter because you can smash through the Sentinel's armor. So this is actually Desperate Great. I think this is our first Desperate Great roll.
Okay.
Oh, Kenny has a suggestion of how the hammer works. It starts as a small T, then the handle portion extends out, possibly to make it two-handed. If it's more complex, you can turn the handle and press a switch that releases a chain attached to the head so it can be flailed. I don't think that this is that complicated. That could be a modification that could be added to this weapon.
Yeah, maybe once it becomes a tier 3 weapon, that's what it gets to do.
Maybe. A deceptive amount of reach. Yeah, that'll be a cool, epic level weapon one day. But it's already pretty intense. So, you just turned into a barbarian from Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes, pretty much.
And you go rushing in as the dead, dreaming body of their god looks on. Holy crap.
So it's Desperate Great. Does that also take into account that this is a fine weapon, just like my hand weapon is? Or should it go up to extreme?
No. That was the last thing that took it from standard to great, was the fine weapon.
Okay. Alright, and then I am getting 1 bonus die because I am pushing myself, and I don't think either of you guys want to be around this. So...
Oh, yeah, no, see, that was the fine weapon thing. The thing you were talking about, potency doesn't necessarily raise the effect.
Okay.
It lets you do something that would otherwise be impossible.
Okay.
So, hurting a heavily armored opponent, or being able to take on a small gang, kind of thing. That's what potency is.
So I was curious, I can take as one of the load items, just one of the standard load items, I can take a pistol. And all the rules for, hunt and all the other, actions are, you use hunt to make a particularly difficult shot or something. So if I just want to, pull out a pistol and shoot somebody, is that even a roll? I don't really get how combat is supposed to work for those of us who aren't.
If you want to take out a pistol and shoot somebody in this particular combat, that would probably be an assist.
Well, that's what I'm getting at, is, can I assist him by claiming that I had a pistol this whole time and I shoot one of them?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll burn
oh yes,
one.
the pistol that I
have room for 2 stress. Assuming nothing else happens, I can assist you with this combat.
Okay.
All right, so you are getting an assist. At least Dredge fires off a single shot.
Yeah, maybe it hits somebody. I don't know.
The alternative is that you could get more involved in the combat, and then you could add your dice in. But then
I was more wondering,
But then the ogre would be taking the lead, and he would take stress based on if you failed.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, we could do that as well. I'm just you've said repeatedly that even those of us who aren't ogre can still fight, and I'm just not sure how we fight other than making action rolls.
Well, yes, you make action rolls. Yes, you make action rolls and skills you don't really have a high ranking in. But even if you have a 0 in a skill, you can still get a 75% chance of success by pushing yourself, etc.
You're cutting out constantly again.
Really?
At least on my end.
This hasn't been a problem.
Yeah, it's
fine.
You're cutting out a bit, but it's still like we're able to get what you're saying from text clues.
That's really annoying.
But yeah, to me, like the two ways that you could help with this combat are and in combat in general. Like it's if you think of it in terms of this is a roll to overcome an obstacle, then it kind of makes sense for the roles to either be a single person who is kind of doing the brunt of the fighting, me, with you guys assisting by just putting in little pot shots here and there, or if you want to be a much more active participant where it's us fighting as a group, then that becomes a group action.
Yeah, that makes sense. Anyway, I already marked the assist, so
Okay.
go for it.
Ogre, what's your tarot card?
My tarot card is the Wheel of Fortune.
The Wheel of Fortune.
So I don't know if this counts as a significant reversal of my fortunes, but
We've already determined Ogre is going to die while attempting to buy a vowel.
Interesting. The Devil's Bargain is if you survive, Ogre, Timoth Walker becomes something not quite human. A spirit of demonic presence enters him in this rage-fueled scene. And he will never be able to rid himself of it. That's the Devil's Bargain. Yeah.
That's actually really intriguing to me, because I was thinking that the next perk that Ogre would take would be Ghost Fighter, which gives him the ability to infuse energy into his hands and be able to actually interact with spirits on a physical level. So that makes this Devil's Bargain really appealing, because it gives a cool narrative reason for why he would be able to do that.
It will be a demon of rage.
Okay.
Like half of your potential special abilities could be explained by this.
Yeah. You know what? I'm
Even
willing
like the
to...
fact that you heal fast could be explained by this. Like it works for everything on your character sheet.
I'm willing to take that, but that means that since I am pushing myself to use Not to be Trifled with, that would mean that I'm pushing up the effect instead of the dice with pushing myself. So I would go from great to extreme effect.
Wait, how?
So in order to use Not to be Trifled with, I am pushing myself.
Right.
Like I have to do that, and since I still get the natural effect of pushing myself, I'm either getting +1 die from it, or I'm getting an increased effect. And since you can't get +1 die from both pushing yourself and the Devil's Bargain, that means that I would be boosting the effect instead.
I see.
Does that make sense?
Okay, yes it does.
All right, so I am going. So it's a desperate extreme effect roll with 2 bonus dice.
So if you roll a crit, that's just it. Like it's already extreme. It can't get more extreme.
Yeah.
The whole place comes down to crits. The glass shatters.
So you're taking
Stuff falls from the ceiling.
You're taking that Devil's Bargain.
I am taking that Devil's Bargain.
All right.
All right, here we go.
Hang on just a moment.
Yep. Okay.
Be very specific with me. What Timoth Walker's intent is here. What does he want to accomplish?
What he wants to accomplish is he wants to break these cultists to make sure that they cannot follow him or his friends, and that they won't be able to hurt him or his family again.
Okay, so that's what he cares about.
Yes, and it's that second part is only because the Burn King specifically mentioned his ancestors, and like he knows, at least in some sense, he knows. And so he wants to make sure that he cannot be followed after this event.
Okay. So take them all out.
I got the 6.
All right.
It's not a crit, but it's a 6.
It's so close.
The game so wanted you to get a 5. Look at that.
Just
5,
kind of
5,
close.
6, 5. 3 5s, 1 6.
3 5s is a 6. I think that's how this works.
Wow. So just to be clear, if you hadn't gotten a 6, I was prepared to kill your character.
Okay.
That's probably what would have happened.
But he got a 6.
Or
That
near
does
death.
not surprise me.
Or near death if it was a 5. On a failed roll, obviously, he would be very dead.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Dredge and Suri.
Dredge takes one wild pot shot, probably misses.
Yes, Dredge takes one wild pot shot. We'll say no, he helps. Dredge like shoots back and he's like, "Oh, I hit something." But then your attention is turned not toward the cultist that you hit, but to Ogre as he stands there on the bridge, holding his hammer. Suri, you hear a noise. The both of you hear it. It's Ogre's heart beating so loud that you can hear it in between the gunshots. Pistol balls graze Ogre as the cultists run while firing. He doesn't even flinch. When he moves, it's so quick, your eye almost can't follow it. And then he's there, in the midst of them. And blood is flying. His hammer, a whirlwind of utter destruction. The sounds of gunshots and Ogre's beating heart give way to screams and snapping noises as the various cultists are flung, their bones broken by the force of the hammer off of the platform to fall screaming to a doubtful doom down below. Crunch, snap, and a final roar from Ogre. Something not human. Something primal. Something other. As he drives the hammer into Mashoud's face, breaking it apart, and his head just going squish as the helmet is smashed into the stone stairs behind him. Dredge and Suri, you stand now just at the mouth of the stairs. Ogre on the other side of the room. Covered in blood and bits of brain and bone. Ogre, these past few seconds, really, felt like a long day of screaming anger. There's a feeling more than a sight, as if Ogre had sprouted wings in that battle. He flew across the field. And now, as you turn, you hear some shouts distantly. More cultists are coming from the abandoned mansion up above. It's time to leave. Ogre, you're spent, exhausted, but as he turns, dragging the hammer, clank, clank, clank down the stairs behind him, the smears of blood across his face make him look like he wears a mask of rage. You escape, and none of the cultists dare to follow. Well done, you guys.
That was awesome.
Now I want to make a fighter.
Right.
Oh boy.
Interesting. When you get a trauma, does it let you write one in on your character sheet, or do you have to pick from the list?
That's a good
On the
question.
character sheet, you just have to pick from the list, but one of them is vicious. If that's what you're thinking.
That is what I'm thinking.
Okay.
I think, well, we'll talk about it more. But this will manifest as Ogre. I think that we should write it in as a trauma, even though it's kind of a supernatural thing.
I'm perfectly fine with it being represented as a trauma, mechanically.
You could also mess with his vice or something.
This is a trauma.
Ogre was at 8 out of 9 stress anyways. He was on the verge of getting a trauma, so it's not unreasonable to think that this situation pushed him over the edge in that regard.
I mean,
Yeah,
if
he's-
it's not
he's-
a trauma for him, I think it's certainly a trauma for both of us.
Yeah, he's going to be. Ogre will be prone to fits of rage, even with his friends and family. And that is going to be a permanent trauma.
Okay.
All right. Well, that was pretty awesome. Let's do experience. We'll start with Suri.
Do we want to do the payoff for the score?
The payoff for the score, certainly. Oh yes, so some people died this time, finally.
Yep.
Oh,
So
crap. I forgot about
heat
that.
will be generated.
I kind of figured that
They
was
were
going to happen.
cultists, and it was in a basement. Come on.
If
Well-
for no better reason than the fact that the spirit wardens will be alerted to the fact that new ghosts have shown up. People know when people die.
Do their ghosts make it out of there? I don't know. They're weird god bodies.
He might eat some of them. All right.
Well, the fact that there's less of them will make it easier to come back and blow him up later.
Possibly. You killed 6 people. And yeah, you guys get back up there, and that guy's like awakened, like in chains, like help.
I heard like none of the words there.
Really? I cut out again?
Yeah.
What the hell's
Yeah, we
going
got like
on?
one. We got like one adjective in the middle somewhere, but that like I don't know.
Can you hear that?
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, most of the time we can hear you. It's just every once in a while we lose most of a sentence.
That's really weird.
I feel like it sounds like a problem with the microphones, or with the range that it's accepting. Because
Well,
it's
but then
seriously
it-
just like we miss a word and then it comes back.
But then it would happen when I turned away from the microphone.
It did
Well,
just
it
happen.
definitely just happened.
It happens when I turn away. All right, I have to mess with that then.
Mhm.
For now, I'll just talk really close to the mic, so you can get some ASMR. All right. You got 2 rep. Unless you're claiming that this is a silent operation.
Technically.
Although we do boost that rep by 1 because
How come?
we have leverage.
I forget why.
It's one of our crew's special abilities.
Oh, nice. Well, you need to make up some rep after one of your enemies damaged it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're getting away with some
The reason
papers.
we have for having leverage doesn't really apply in this situation. But
Are you guys turning over all the occult stuff to the Skovlanders, or are you saving some of it, Skovlander refugees, or are you saving some things for yourselves?
I am saving Casilda's song. I know that's going to piss the Skovlanders off, but I'm saving it.
I thought you might.
we were just sort of grabbing stuff as we could. Was everything we took part of that original cache, or was there other stuff mixed
There was other stuff mixed in.
in? Okay, so we definitely keep the other stuff.
Okay. That's fine.
Remember, Dredge has like a shitty bookshelf that he's trying to fill up?
Mm-hmm. Alright, well, mark that up on either the crew or Dredge's stuff.
Assorted occult texts.
I'll put it in the crew area.
Yeah, sure.
Because that's where we've got our other
That's
stuff.
fine. Dredge doesn't care who uses his library.
And also the book. Alright. Well, you are going to get 6 coin. Do you want to pay your tithe to the crime boss?
I think that's a good idea.
Yep, I think so too. You said it was 6 coin?
6 coin.
Alright. So 2 for the crew, 1 for each of us.
Alright.
After the tithe.
So let's see. Was it a high profile or well connected target? No. Situation happened on hostile turf. No. Because you didn't have a relationship with these people ahead of time.
Oh,
Nor are
you
you
mean
at
turf
war
in
with
the
another
tradition, in,
faction.
like
Killing was involved. So that's going to jump it up. From 2 heat to 4 heat.
Okay.
All right. And let's see. We'll roll entanglements next time. So let's make a note of that. And now it's time for XP. Do you want to do the crew first?
Okay.
All right. Experience points. Did you hear that?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Rare imports. Experience. Did you execute a successful espionage, sabotage, or theft operation? Yes. So get 1 for that.
All right.
Did you contend with challenges above your current station? No, they are the same tier as you guys.
Okay.
How is that possible? They have a literal god thing.
Yeah, but he
But
was kind of.
Have you checked your collection of
I haven't,
weird
I
artifacts
swear.
lately?
Yeah.
Like the Orb of Fate.
Oh, we should have brought that. That would have been useful.
We're moving up in the world, and it takes 3 people to move that, or all of Ogre, including using his
We
supernatural
can make a
strength.
special cart for it.
You bolstered your crew's reputation without a doubt. Okay. Express the goals, drives, inner conflict, or essential nature of the crew. What do you guys think? We had some good roleplay.
I mean, if that wasn't crazy and weird, I don't know what is.
Well, that's your reputation. You bolstered your reputation. But what about
Yeah.
your goals, drives, inner conflict, or essential nature?
Yeah, I mean, I think we did in the sense that we were targeting these occult texts not just for the sake of the job. Like, we were looking for more weird stuff to get, and we didn't sell it all. We specifically are hoarding magical items and magical text and stuff. So
That's true. That has become the essential nature of the crew.
We did
all
also
right.
talk about blowing things up, so that was relevant, but didn't pull it off.
Okay. We're shadows who blow everything up.
If Blend was here, it would have been more traditional. Rare imports.
Possibly. All right. So yes, take 1 XP for that. I think.
Okay.
I think that that you guys are figuring out the inner conflicts and essential nature of the crew. So we haven't quite got there yet, but it's definitely developing into an interesting place.
yeah, I have a feeling that very soon it's going to turn into, is gathering all this weird arcane stuff worth the terrible things that keep happening around us? Because I think some of those magical items are about to blow up in our faces.
Also, you guys
Literally
get
the
back.
ones that are-
Go ahead.
You mean literally the ones that have a clock that says something like rune alarm or something?
Rune
Will-
curse activates? Yes.
Yeah, that one.
That's not ominous at all.
Yeah, I'll move you back to the layer table.
So yeah, my character reciting aloud some passages from that book you have set the rune curse up a bunch. So physically bringing that book close to them, that's going to be totally fine.
Okay. Let's do Suri. Suri. Let's go over your experience.
All right. So, you addressed a challenge with deception or influence. That's pretty much all I did.
Yeah, you did that a
attempted-
lot. Go ahead.
I successfully bluffed a deity. I attempted to persuade the ghost of some sacrificial victim to help us. So I think I get 2 XP because, and then there was the guard, and then there was tricking the guy into falling asleep with my trance powder, and that was like my whole contribution this session.
I think you did it more than once, and it was key to the session. So go ahead and take 2 XP for that one.
Then you expressed your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. Now, I would argue that I did by repeatedly engaging, perhaps more than was wise, with weird ghosts and other spirits. But I don't know if I can also get XP for that in the struggling with issues from vice or traumas.
Right. What belief did it?
Not
did
belief,
that express?
drive. I would say.
What drive then?
Just her general desire to gain secret knowledge, her interest in communicating with spirits, and I mean that's like the whole function of her religion is to just lock herself in a room with a spirit and let it out of its bottle and see what it wants to say.
Well, that's the more of the trauma side, but also the desire for knowledge. That's the trauma side, the vice side. But the desire for knowledge, etc., I think can be a vice, but it's also like she was driven to seek this out, and she wanted to experience it fully. So I think that came up here as well. So go ahead and take 1 for that.
All right. And then the last one is struggling with issues from vice or trauma. I've somehow miraculously avoided trauma up till this point, although I've gotten really, really close the last couple missions. But again, I would argue that generally speaking, she was at least kind of flirting with indulging her vice in her interactions with the deity and with the cult.
Yeah, that definitely led to some problems for everybody, so take 1 for that as well.
All right, that's it for me.
All right, Ogre.
All right. Addressed a challenge with violence or... I don't feel like that really came up session, so I don't know.
What was the first one? Violence?
Violence or coercion?
No.
All right, so take 1 for that.
I feel like it did come up multiple times. It wasn't
so
just
he knocked
that
out
last
the guy
fight.
at the beginning.
It's also,
You did knock out the guy at the beginning too, so take 2 then.
Okay. Expressed your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. I mean, a lot of this score was kind of about Ogre's heritage of trying to find the books, not just for the other Scavlanders, but finding the book that his ancestor wrote. And so I feel like that was pretty important.
Mm-hmm. Take 1 for that for sure.
Okay. And then you struggled with issues from your vice session. I feel like, to me, the reason that Ogre went above and beyond of trying to break these people, not just so they couldn't follow him in the immediate future, but so they couldn't follow him ever, why he probably crossed that line to kill them under the effects of the rage potion, was specifically because they were threatening his family.
Right.
And that is his obligation, or his vice is his obligation to his daughter.
Right. So you get 1 for that as well. Nice.
All right.
Dredge.
Addressed a challenge with knowledge or arcane power. I don't know that I actually addressed challenges so much this session as made problems.
Well, you did a lot of assisting that way.
Yeah, I tried to figure out what was up with the throne and caused a ghost to be there. It wasn't great. And then I tried to study books and read one by mistake and went crazy. So I don't know. I don't know what counts as addressing a challenge. I rolled some dice.
Address means you tried to do something
Like, I
so
wasn't-
you rolled the dice.
In neither case was I really, like, did I have an actual, I'm trying to address this problem in mind. It was more just,
Mm-hmm.
both of them were, like, trying to learn about the environment more than they were actually, like,
But
trying
that
to
is in
accomplish.
itself still addressing a challenge. The challenge in that first room was trying to figure out what the heck was up with the throne and whether it's something that we needed to interact with. And
Yeah, I didn't know that at the time.
but gathering information is still a valid thing for addressing challenges.
Yeah.
Like gathering
I mean, I'll
information
take one,
so that
I
you can
guess.
act.
Max, does that make sense? Take one.
I think that's a take one. Yeah.
Express beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. I don't really think much of that came up.
Okay.
Dredge could have been a lot more interested in what was going on, and if I'd really pushed for the destroying it thing, then, like, one of his deals is that he has a different forgotten god that he's kind of enthralled to, and
Mhm.
so he really doesn't like the Burned King, but he didn't really accomplish much in terms of trying to fuck with it. So
Well, if you guys come back to sabotage that thing, then
Yeah,
then
that's
that'll
why-
be Dredge's moment to really express
Yeah.
his beliefs.
like there was
there.
more he wanted to do here that he wasn't really able to affect this time. And the same thing for the last trigger is his vices and traumas didn't come up. So I think I
Okay.
only got one. It was a pretty weak Dredge session in my opinion. Ever since he flubbed that attune roll, it was just this is not
Aw.
gonna go well.
Oh well, maybe it wasn't the spotlight wasn't on Dredge so much this session.
He spent
but
most of the time pretending to be in a trance. So-
I feel like he did a lot of research last session, which was cool.
Yeah, he was more involved in the planning of this one.
Yeah,
He's not.
yeah.
He's not so much for the like on the ground actually mixing stuff up.
Which is fine. Which is cool. All right. Well, awesome. That was a huge amount of fun. Oh man, I think I have a new favorite score. I mean, they're all fun, but I think that was pretty.
Yeah.
That was pretty fun for me.
That was a really cool one. I'm
Wow.
excited to see how the Spirit of Rage affects Ogre in the
Yeah,
future.
and we're gonna have to see like if we can, like make it either more or less effective. You know, like maybe we can tattoo some runes on you.
Or we could not do that.
Oh, you wait until Dredge and Blend get involved in trying to mess with this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not really sure how we're going to explain to Shade and Blend exactly what. Like, we thought it was going to be hard to explain to Echo what happened while he was gone.
I can't wait for the recap. I may have to put that in the Super Commenter Discord.
Yeah, this is a pretty significant development of Ogre's character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, that's it. Thanks for joining us, viewers. And to anybody who watches this later, I hope you enjoyed as well. We are signing off from the stream, so good night and see you later. Thanks a lot.
Good night, everybody.